Overrated or underrated? That's the huge debate with Bronny James. It's split almost 50-50. About half the people think he's overhyped, and then the other half think he's not getting enough. When you think about it, and when you get to talking about it and watching the film, it's a legit argument, and you can make a case for either one. On one side, you can make a valid argument that he's overrated because he's only averaging 5 to 6 points per game for the past 2 years, but yet he's in the ESPN rankings. He's not just in the rankings, let me clarify that. He's been a 4 or 5 star recruit almost his entire life, and he's always been in the top 50. But you can make the other point that he's always played on stacked teams, so he's got to share the ball, and if he did play on a worse team, he could average 20 to 30 points per game. For Mr. Bronny himself, growing up, he was always labeled as overhyped and that he got way too much attention. And for the most part, this wasn't a debate. Almost everybody agreed with that. But now that he's getting older, people are starting to switch over to the side and starting to say that he's underhyped and undervalued. When you sit back and analyze the past 3 to 4 years for him, it's kinda crazy. The reason it's crazy is because at first, everybody was saying there's no way he lives up to it and is as good or even close to as good as his father. Flash forward in time though to the current date, there's not just some, but there's a lot of people who believe he can be as close to his dad or even get up to that level. Let me clarify one thing though. Am I saying Bronny's gonna be the next LeBron James? Absolutely not. All I'm saying is when he first started hooping and it started getting released to the public, people were saying there's no way he'd even be close. The gap though that people thought wouldn't be close at all is starting to shrinking. It's not close, but it's shrinking and people are believing in the hype. A main reason people are believing in it is it has nothing to do with his numbers. I really don't understand it. It must be one of those crazy freak athletic things. He continues to grow every single year. It's not a massive growth spurt like Anthony Davis had where he grew 7 to 8 inches over one summer. It's a slow and steady burn. It seems like every time we see him on YouTube or TV, he gets an inch or two bigger. In some of his previous workouts with his dad and recent workouts, it looks like he's almost as tall as LeBron and he's almost at that 6'4 or 6'5 mark. Do not get me started on that because if he gets to be as tall as his dad, he's gonna be a serious problem. Anyways, with all that being said and moving on in this video, we gotta discuss not one but 2 things that people said about him. When I say this, I mean it. I don't take tweets or anything too serious or what people say, but this really caught my attention. It's really one tweet in particular, but I'm gonna talk about this one first, and we've mentioned it before on this channel. I believe it was either a week or 2 ago where we made a video talking about what Gilbert Arenas said about Bronny. You can go check that video out if you want, but I'll sum it up. All he really said was, quote unquote, Bronny James will be a top player in USA next year. He even went on to say that he thinks he's gonna be the #1 or #2 player in the country. We made a video about it, like I said, and we talked about it, and I really didn't think too much of it, I'm not going to lie. But however, there was a new tweet that was brought to my attention, and I'm not going to lie, it had me thinking. A Twitter profile that goes by the username of Sue Bird Enthusiast tweeted this. Eye test. Bronny James has arguably been the best player on the planet since 2014. Put away everyone's stats and accolades, including his, just watch the game in its purity. This is never before seen ability. Man got benched and didn't miss a beat. I can't emphasize this enough. When I read stuff like that, and just like you watching this video, you're like, that tweet is completely bogus and he took that way too far. I know some of you are heading to the comments to say that guy's crazy, but before you do, just please hear me out and listen to what I gotta say. This is what I paid attention to. He said, put away everyone's stats and accolades, including Bronny's, and just watch the games. I don't really agree with the never before seen ability because we've seen abilities like Bronny's before. Obviously, I've seen Bronny play and I've seen the highlights and I've somewhat studied the film. But after that tweet, I went back and I studied it some more and I watched the games like I didn't pay attention to the stats or numbers, I just focused on Bronny. Another thing too that I paid attention to was that the guy said he got benched and he didn't miss a beat. And he's right, and no one's giving Bronny any credit for that. Even myself, I haven't even spoken about that, but I gotta give it where it's due. Bronny's one of the best players in the country, whether you want to say so or not. I think we can agree he is a good player. If you don't think he's a top player, you at least gotta admit he's a good player. Whether you think he deserved being a 5-star last year, he was for Sierra Canyon, and he was coming off the bench. And he's also LeBron James' son. Bronny's entire life, he's been the best player on his team. People have told him how good he was, and he's always going to be a star on his team. Then all of a sudden, he goes to a powerhouse program, and not only is he not the best player on the team, but he's not even starting. I don't think some of you quite understand how hard that is to take in and what that does to your confidence and mentality. I think Bronny's a very humble and just straight up cool dude, but that had to humble him even more. Most big time players, when they're in that situation in college or the NBA, they have a terrible attitude, but Bronny didn't. He had a great attitude about the situation, and he came off the bench and looked good. He looked as if he didn't even get benched. I get it. He was a freshman playing on varsity, but all I'm gonna say is anywhere else he would have been starting, and it's so rare to see a 5-star recruit on the bench in high school. I wanted to say that and give him some credit. Now let's get back on topic. Like I said, and like this guy said, he said Bronny has arguably been the best player on the planet since 2014. That's absolutely ridiculous and crazy. Or is it? Of course, I'll be throwing some of the highlights on the screen, but just for your sake, go watch some more after this video. And don't go into the video thinking about rankings or how many points per game he averages. Go into the video and right now watch the video clips on the screen and just watch how Bronny plays. When you watch him play and watch his team play, it's hard to say that there is a better player in his class. He's a much better shooter than LeBron was in high school. He's almost as athletic as LeBron was in high school, and he's getting bigger and stronger. Do I have to mention his passing ability and IQ because it's off the charts for a high schooler? And then to top it all off, he looks smooth, comfortable, and he has a good mentality. He's not going to lose you a game. It's just flat out simple. Like LeBron, I'm going to give him credit. He's not going to lose you a game. He may not take the clutch shot, but he's not going to shoot you out of the game. It's the exact same thing for Bronny. Like I said, throw out the rankings and just look at the players in his class. It's hard to say that you wouldn't take him as one of the top 5 picks. We're not talking about his numbers, what he's ranked, or anything. We're talking about his potential and how he looks out there. Going back to Gilbert Arenas too, I don't think some of you actually realize, but Gilbert knows something that we don't. And the reason I'm saying that is because he's training Bronny. He's even stated that Bronny is the second coming and just as good as his dad, and he could be better. I'm not gonna go that far, that's crazy to say, but it's not like he's just saying that. He's training him, so he's gotta see and know something that we don't. For the 2023 class at least, it's really hard for anyone to say that there's a better NBA prospect than him. So, do you think Bronny could be one of the best players in his class, or is he gonna fall off? Let me know in the comments, but with all that being said, that's gonna wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? We're on the road to 100K. We can't get there without you. Appreciate if you join the family. If not, that's cool too. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, yeah. Peace.